Yeah, I want to make a video on the recent decision of the European Human Rights Court regarding the charge of blasphemy against an Austrian woman. Her name's still unknown to me, but there's been quite a bit of discussion about how the European Court of Human Rights has denied her appeal against her conviction in Austria for blasphemy. Now, yeah, I mean, it's one of the, yeah, well, it is important because what seems to have happened is how would you describe it? I mean, suddenly there's this, we've stepped into this twilight zone of Muslim theology, which is which doesn't valuable rational discourse at all. I mean, a rational, a logical discourse doesn't seem to be held in much esteem. Now, reading the judgment of the European EU court, I mean, it's just bizarre. They've tried to say that the woman in Austria intended to prejudice people against Muhammad by saying that he'd had intercourse with Aisha when she was 9, when she was underage. And so saying he was a pedophile was some form of blasphemy or hate speech, because she hadn't proven that he was that he wasn't doing it for some other reason other than a desire to have sex with kiddies. Now, so if you can get all this idea, I mean, there's historians and there's people who, if you read about it, there's all these counterclaims and counterclaims about how old Aisha actually was when she met Muhammad in a bar or whatever. But the hadiths say that he consummated the marriage with Aisha when she was 9. I mean, the hadiths are historical sources. And just stating these facts is an example of blasphemy. Stating a fact in a religious book is blasphemy. And this is what I've been saying since the Tommy Robinson thing, is we're entering into this la-la land, this twilight zone, where you can quote a religious text, and because someone's offended, they can throw you in jail for quoting what it says. I mean, obviously, if you quote what they say, they consider it bad public relations and they don't want people to know these things. So they'll just shut you up by saying they're offended somehow. And just browbeat people into silence, which is clearly their intention, but this thuggery has gone all the way to the top. I mean, obviously the European High Court is on the take. I mean, just simply on the take. Or they're child molesters themselves, or they're part of this Jesuit program to legalize sex with children. I mean, it seems to me a fairly interesting observation that if right now there's all these scandals where religious authorities, whether they're Catholic or they're Muslim or Jewish, they're being investigated for child molestation. And if you hypothesize that they were trying to legalize child marriage, see, if you legalize child marriage, then you can just find a way, especially when you can legalize gay marriage. You could find a way to say that, which is what the EU court's actually done, found a way to say that because after Aisha was raped as a child by Muhammad, he married her, and she continued on as his wife, along with his other wives. He had bonked when they were children. Because he married her later on, then he had honourable intentions. Yeah. No, I mean, he had a whole, and yeah, I don't know. You can't make this stuff up. They're trying to defend Muhammad's reputation by the fact that he already had a bunch of child brides, with whom he had sex, and so Aisha was just another one. So it was fine. And anyway, if you have sex with a child, you marry them later, that's fine, because his intentions are honourable, so no problem there. And so obviously with gay marriage, you can have like a priest or a mullah boning a choir boy in the backside, and he can say he intended to marry him in the future in a same-sex union. And so it was, his intentions were honourable. And, well, by this sophistry, you could obviously, you wonder whether they could actually get themselves off the legal hook, or the legal hook, or off the hook of financial liability. Because very often in like a civil suit for liability, a trigger for the court, or what gets the thing over the line, is a finding by a criminal court. So if a tort has also been the occasion of a crime, so then a finding of guilty of the crime is automatically a trigger for a finding of liability in the defendant's case of the defendant, and damages being awarded to the plaintiff. But I think basically part of the reasoning behind all this, and to which the European High Court is a party, because clearly they have no morals whatsoever. there's just this. It's like these corporations, these religions, which are basically big corporations, finding a way to reduce their liability and their financial exposure because of the proclivities of the employees of the company, like the Catholic priests or the mullahs or the rabbis. Now, and there is another important consideration, is these hate speech laws, which have gone off into this surreal, absurd world where you can be accused of hate speech by stating a simple fact. After more in a while.